team with arguably the best synergy as a five-man unit.
All right, second map, Battlefield of Eternity. The big question on everyone's mind, do we see Samuro?
I think it's a bold yes. Is that I don't want to say too much about what Wubby feels about Samuro against counters, right? Because that's off-screen stuff like that. But I feel like it's going to be a resounding yes, and I think it's something that Roll20 seriously has to consider. Do they have the tools? Do they know how to deal with it, or do they ban it out? And that's the thing, is that it's at the later part of the draft, but.
Right. But that's the thing, right? It is after seeing that in day number 1 here of the mid-season brawl, that's the powerful thing about it. Because it's there, lingering at the back of your mind. Do they get it, or do you have to burn a ban for it? That's kind of a scary tool.
I think it is. I mean, we know the mind game that kind of stands here. I'm just trying to figure out if I am Fnatic, because I look at that last draft as not Fnatic 100% drafting. I honestly feel as if they tried to at least a degree down, right? I think they did have a well-rounded composition, but that is an age-old comp, you know, and it just conveniently worked there. So I do want to say that I think Fnatic wants to hide as little as possible into the next, but I also feel like that game was not dominant enough into their favor to where I'm comfortable going, can I flex this tomorrow?
You say an age-old comp, but ever since Uther's Divine Storm became more valid, we haven't seen that iteration really with Divine Storm actually truly being incorporated in since it's, you know, actually become a thing. So it's kind of even scarier of the age-old comp.
I mean, it's legitimately, as long as you have a Void and to double reset, any form of crowd control that is AoE to follow up to Void is going to make it that much more intimidating.
All right, into the draft game number 2 here. Fnatic leads 1-0. Gillyweed. Let's get into it.
Roll20 immediately going to ban out Uther away from Smexy, and you gotta do it.
Genji, it's gotta be here. Roll20, even after that last game, I feel like Genji down. They're gonna pull back.
Dahaka.
Okay, so if you're looking to go Samuro, you don't want to give up free stacks to Medivh. And if you're using it to counter something like a Zeratul, like a Glaurung hero, then you have multiple targets. We saw what Illusion Master did, and it was phenomenal from Wubby in game 1, or in day 1. So there's like multiple miniature phases, but the overarching theme is, can you deal with it?
I think the reason why we didn't see the Genji there is because they don't think the Fnatic will take both. They're not going to take Genji and Greymane, so we can take Dahaka. We're going to have a global who can keep the split soak going. It's so important here. We saw what L5 could do with that split soak style, although, albeit, they didn't actually win that game, but they are taking a risk. They're taking a risk that Fnatic won't take both.
And again, statistically, Dahaka is one of the most successul heroes in this entire tournament. So, you know, though I don't jump out of that, is it doesn't have the flashy, the hip hip hooray amazing hero pick that I wanted to see out of it. It still is it is one of the most solid heroes that is available in this current meta. But Genji and Anubarak, it just feels like standard at this point. That is the tournament meta.
The thing I like about the Anubarak pickup the most is that it does 2 things for you. Is that one, Yoda plays a lot of Li Ming on this map, who does really well at poke. Anubarak says no. The other thing is Schwimpy on the other side loves to play that. You know, so you now are going to have to be forced to ban it out on the side of Roll20, because if you pick it up, the value of it is severely diminished. And if you give it up to the other team, you now run the risk of getting blown up the same way you did in game 1.
There is a counter strategy to that, though, that we are on BOE, and nothing on the side of Fnatic screams, I can deal with side soak. They aren't necessarily thriving in the race department either. They are picking a very skirmish-focused composition, but when looking at the core mechanic of BOE, Roll20, even if they roll into that department, they could go with the safe play, Dahaka side soak, Alarak defensive. You know, that doesn't necessarily thrive. Alarak is amazing defensively in this current patch.
Murden gets locked in.
Still not getting Greymane.
Yeah.
That was... We're missing something. That's all that is.
Murden over Varian or Diablo or anything?
Well, they only run those with the Medivh specifically. Varian once in a while as the solo, but it's more that the fact that they would opt into the Murden that high without the Greymane, because flat out, Roll20, not only is Greymane one of their most desired heroes because of their weird integrated hero pools, but then also because of this map.
They have played Murden 1 time in all of HGC Phase 1.
Dot.
They
wasn't that Glaurung that played
play Mura. Justin played 1.
He played it once. I think Glaurung...
What are we missing?
Tracer gets banned down. That's an uncommon ban to come in here.
But both of them have shown a Tracer.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is
so
true.
far. Not wanting to deal with that. Man, I'm just, what is it?
Okay, I know it's very uncharacteristic for me to, you know, throw out these big questions here, but I need a little bit of help brainstorming. What in the world can you pair with a Murden that is so threatening in a trio that is not picked or banned currently that you can zone out for that side soak? Because what I see right now with that Murden being so an outlier, it is a little L5-esque their approach to this map versus Dig. You run a double global, your 3-man is so threatening that it is enough to at least be intimidating. Murden has the ability to dwarf toss out, poke up, self-sustain, and then you have the side soak out of the global. So what is that one feature to stop a Nubarak Genji? I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. My mind initially hovered to Tyrande, and then I was like, nope, 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 nope.
How dare you mention her on this council of
Council of the Storm.
favorites.
There you go.
Council of the Storm,
Perfect.
yes.
Couple of favorites.
Well, we're just going to have to see, I think, for Roll20 what they want, because clearly the Murden is already so outside the realm of what we know from them that it could continue to be outside that realm.
Ooh.
But I love that you mentioned the Anubarak to follow up with Li Ming, Schwimpy Classic, adding Karzim to that.
Double reset again.
And that's the thing, is like it gives so much value, right? The Anubarak pickup denied it from Roll20, and it wasn't banned out, so therefore it opened the door. Now, Fnatic had plenty of options. As Dred was talking about, there's some variables that go in there, but they fall back on something that they know. They have the double reset now. You have the extreme poke potential.
Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Yes.
It is a council.
They go Karazim as a healer because when you heal, you don't reveal which the real Samuro is. Hey.
Why don't you go tidal waves with...
I don't know, Shush. It's not no.
This is a thing.
Illidan and Tassadar come in here for the final picks.
I can respect what I can respect what Roll20 is trying to do in this draft right now, but I feel like they're missing a huge element to this draft. Like a colossal one, and that is any form of threat into their 3-man.
It's
like,
full fight.
They have to, like, they have like the idea of we have the globals and we can get that side soak. But
oh, man.
they have the idea to get that side soak, but the reason that was so successful versus Dignitas is because the Genji, Malfurion, Murden is so intimidating. As a 3-man, they have so much mobility, you're never going to kill them. You can barely out-skirmish them, so you have to just 5-man all in. The minute you did that, you saw them back out, play defensively. Here goes back out our global. So I see the same thought process going on here, but it needs to... Dahaka is the only one who can go off on his own, and the rest is going to be relying on the 4-man Illidan Tassadar to be unkillable.
But overall, Arthas is a great choice to deal with that Illidan.
It is, yeah. That's kind of the nail in the coffin for me.
yeah.
Seeing the Arthas for that, too.
It is just, I know that we always try and nail home this point, like being one-dimensional in a draft. You're all in on one thing, and if you don't do it well, you just flat out look awful. And that's the hardest part. If you're a one-trick, it's going to be very difficult, I think. I understand what they're doing. I just don't like it.
I'm going to have to ask you for predictions, starting with Gilly.
Sound like a broken record, but I love the Arthas so much. Picked now with a lot in the Illidan basket, so I'm going to have to go once again for Fnatic.
Hands down, no question, Fnatic. There's not even a debate for me right now.
Look at him suffering.
Somebody give me Fnatic's rundown of heroes off the top of my head for some reason.
Genji, Anu, Karzim, Li Ming, Arthas. Battlefield of Eternity.
Saget, really? I'm gonna go with Roll20. I'm gonna say it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a risk.
He loves it.
Justify. You can't just...
Okay, I think that they're 1-4. I want to believe is really honestly Dread harsh NA hater Dread is somehow at the window, and sadly I want to believe.
The Tin Man has a heart.
Apparently I do in fact have a soul, but mainly it comes down to if there's a strategy that I think Fnatic would struggle with, because I think they are slightly toning down their drafts, it would be a hyper carry Illidan composition on BOE. You make one minor mistake, and that's enough to be able to come back. Guess what? At level 11 and 12, I saw that exact minor mistake that would have give this comp a lead in the last game, and that was the pre-cleanse into Saint.
He's so passionate, isn't he? I wish him the best of luck as we go into game number 2 here for the mid-season brawl. It seems like things have swayed a little bit more in Fnatic's favor here. He keeps sighing, but I'm going to ignore him.
I can't believe I did it. I just honestly, I can't.
Let's just keep ignoring him. Of course, as we now head over to the commentary team, it's going to be Kaldor and Trixler taking us to the second game.
A different draft here for Roll20. Will it pay off? Dread hopes so, and a few of you at home do as well. Kaldor, you think it can pay off for them?
No.
Okay, well, it's been stated here. Here on the left side, in the blue, do the honors of introducing Fnatic.
To the left, ladies and gentlemen, the Swedish boy band. Touch their hair and they will kill you. Shrimpy on Liming, Whoopi on Arthas, Smexy on Karazim. We have Quacknix on Genji, and Breeze on Nubarak.
Roll20 on the far right. In the red, if you touch their hair, they'll thank you, because they're nice guys. In the top right, Prismatic will be on Dahaka, Buds will be on Malfurion, Justine on Muradin, Glarong on Illidan, and Yoda on Tassadar.
It's rule number 1 in Sweden. You touch a Swede's head and your life is forfeit.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, today I learned. I will make sure not to touch anyone's hair.
The problem is also if you touch Breeze's hair, there's so much wax in it. It's really disgusting.
You don't want that on your hands.
Yeah,
Dirty
exactly.
hands.
I
No
did
fun.
it once by mistake, and I had to wash my hands.
Well, aggressive here play from Roll20 as they move straight in to get on top of this turret, but Fnatic will answer back right away. The Arthas here, man, is going to be such a powerful tool against that Illidan.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that comp. You asked me earlier if I think that Roll20 can take this, and the reason why I say no is that when they commit, they have to commit. There's no way for them to really dance around and move back out once that they committed to a fight. They have a severe lack of range damage with this setup. If you're looking at traditional Illidan compositions, usually you have at least one range damage dealer that is attempting to use the space that the rest of the team creates. But here, this is not going to be the case. It's all in the Illidan basket, and if Glorong doesn't play out of his mind, then this is going to be Fnatic's game. And we have a lot of tools for Fnatic to make sure that Illidan is going to have a very rough time. Not only talking Arthas here, but a Nubarak with a Cocoon alone is already a big threat.
Exactly. You get a taste here of what happens to Illidan if he's controlled properly here as Fnatic continues to come back and forth. A bit of a tug of war between the two, but there's a breaking point, a breaking moment where there's just not enough available here between Malfurion and Tassadar to where if Illidan gets locked down and Arthas is on top of that Illidan, he's going to eventually fall or at least walk away from the fight. And Illidan is the only damage here in this composition.
It's all about Glorong, and I feel that sums up Roll20 quite nicely. It's always about him. He's the leader, he's the shot caller, he's the guy who makes the decisions here, and he needs to play out of his mind if they want to take the map against Fnatic. The first Immortal is on the map, and already we have both teams starting to focus on the objective.
Let's watch and see how this breaks out here. The poke obviously here in the favor of Fnatic with that Li Ming being available, able to break it down on the side when needed. Wubby, of course, can help zone out their own Immortal. That's very UU-esque, where you have a couple of the warriors sitting around the middle, floating around, trying to respond to whoever the most important person is for the opposing team. And right now, that's the Illidan.
We also had up at the top lane another wave taken out by Fnatic, which forces Muradin to now take the experience here. Justine is rebonding, and this allows Fnatic to move onto the Immortal of Roll20, but already Glorong trying to shield them away.
All right, Glarong goes in, gets a dive, looks at Breeze. Yoda instantly shows up to bring out the shield at the last second. Now, of course, at level 4, shields become much better here for Yoda, so Glarong will have more effective life-stealing being available for him, assuming we go for that talent. See here in a couple of seconds what the pickup is.
Yeah, at this point, they could really, with the stuns that we have available, also decide to go into the armor. But they take the lifesteal. It's all about Illidan not being locked down here. Once again, here comes a very nice route. Quacknix dashes out, but it was a good combo from Roll20, threatening Genji's life.
They're really defending down here on the left side. Well, Dahaka actually went in and poked a little bit on the top of Immortal after they cleared out there. Arthas trying to match him for the moment. And this will be slow and steady here from Fnatic. They're consistently going to use that Li Ming to poke until they get a kill, at which point they'll bring Karazim in to go in for the aggression. And so far, Roll20 is actually doing a really good job of just holding the defense down here on the bottom.
Illidan, on the other hand, is also starting to threaten Fnatic a bit in these fights. But as you said, Fnatic gets ahead in the Immortal. Both of the teams have level 4 available now, as Roll20 commits fully to the defense here. But the Hawk can move any moment if he sees an opportunity.
Wubby on the left side comes in for the rotation. Glarong will jump right on top of him, and Nubarak being focused down. Breeze getting low on health. Glarong going for it. Can he help get the kill here? Smexy bringing out his own punches.
Good stun from Breeze, able to move away here. Justin is low as we have the Haka moving in, but not getting a drag on at this point. Once again, nearing the halftime show here. Fnatic with a bit of a better position, but you can see that there's definitely threat coming from Roll20.
There is threat from Roll20 if Fnatic just sits there and takes the beating. And they haven't been doing so far. They're playing around their Li Ming. They had Breeze in a spot where it looked scary for a second or two, but Karazim helping out there, especially with that level 4 talent.
Also, we have at this point, again, Bed of Barbs taken. This is really a cool tool if you are trying to play against someone that tries to just move into you with the entire team. A lot in this tournament, we have seen Underking as the choice if your idea is to dive into your opponent's backline. There isn't really a big backline for Roll20. We have that Malfurion, of course, there. But Fnatic's idea is to control the Illidan. They know it's the linchpin of the strategy that Roll20 plays, and therefore, bed of barbs as the adjustment.
Yes, the better the barbs in the back line. If you hit the double supports and try to make sure that Illidan dies too far, suddenly Illidan has to play a little bit more restrained. He might not get the auto decks that he wants to get into those fights. Fnatic, now with the Immortal, will be pushing in the bottom side here, and Roll20 will sit and defend. The defense a bit difficult overall. Tassadar and Malfurion pretty much their main type of damage, as long as having a hard time getting in there.
And we have a 5-man push at the bot lane. The Haka has taken the top, so Roll20 is side-soaking currently, attempting to make sure that Fnatic does not get too fired with experience, but Fnatic is seriously committing to that bot lane push.
As they should. Remember, when we get to level 10, there is a possibility for Roll20 to get the fights that they would like to. Dahaka comes in from the side here, goes straight in for Wubby. They're looking at him. He'll be able to sneak on out. Smexy bringing out the ult attacks as well, and Radiant dashes around.
Prismatis is missing the Jag, and that's an issue, but Gloran going in once again is able to move out here. Quick cleanse also on Malfurion's side, making sure that there's no threat against the melee assassin. But that drag missing from Prismatis, that was a problem. If Fnatic is losing one of their heroes because of a good Haka combo together with Muradin's follow-up stun, then Illidan can really just carry the momentum.
Yeah, it's true. Those drags are probably one of the most important things here besides Illidan. If a drag connects and they're able to take a takedown, that's where Illidan starts to really snowball in a fight and get that aggressive posture, get on the back line and destroy here. The good news is Roll20, fading into that fight, they did save their fort, but it's still very low. You don't typically see that with the first Immortal.
And well, right now, once again, Roll20 applying some pressure. They take a slight lead in experience yet down at the bot lane. We have up to the top, the Haka fighting it out with Arthurs, and Breeze all the time just poking a bit, moving back in. Fnatic is just poking at this point too, so they are looking for an opportunity, but they know without Arthurs being here, they have a bit of a rough time controlling Illidan. They're really looking towards these 5 versus 5 team fights.
Yeah, they really are. Roll20 trying to get those turrets because they want to get the 10 before their opponents if possible as well, but Fnatic not letting them move into that route. Quacknix comes in, keeps up the harassment, and Glarong is consistently taking damage here. And Buds and Yoda are just doing a really great job of hitting shields when they're important, but also keeping that Illidan topped off.
Roll20 cannot sit too far back, and this is what Glarong currently does very well. He pushes the envelope, and he's always there. He trusts his teammates. He knows that they're going to have his back, and also that him attacking with the shield of Tassadar keeps him alive. The whole that sustain is in him not getting CC'd. This is why Malfurion with the cleanse is also so important here. That cleanse has to be on point when those stun comms on the side of Fnatic come out.
And Roll20, slightly a leading experience, but very close to a degree. We're going to watch Prismat here and see if he keeps up with the concept pushing on the side. Getting the 10 is important, while Fnatic would love to finish the Immortal phase before that 10 does hit, because that's the one moment that Roll20 can do the all-in engage and possibly get what they want. Imagine Archon here, sitting on the back line, helping the attacks in a great Twilight Dream.
This is really, for me, all about how Fnatic also utilizes their own 10. Since with Cocoon, they have a tool that they can use to take either the sustain away from Illidan, maybe Cocoon him and drive the fight away from it, but Illidan is actually starting to now carry the momentum in the top lane, and this is a massive boost in experience. This is exactly what Roll20 wants. They get an early level 10 and now a free reign over the middle of the map with the Punishers where the Immortals are already spawned.
Fnatic's answers back was to burn down the Immortal down to half health, but you're right, 10 here for a full half level could be enough for Roll20 to make their play. They're going in for an aggressive engage. Breeze uses Burrow Charge to get away, and we'll get to his turrets, but the drag hits on Smexy. The silence misses out, but still, Smexy falls.
Smexy falling here. He dashes out or tries to, but this is a great kill by Roll20. They have the 10 advantage, and they're really carrying that momentum now. Fnatic needs to be extremely careful at this point. They hit the 10. They need to wait for Charism. I expect them to just wait out until the halftime show has passed and then go in again.
Halftime show is actually already connected here.
Yeah,
this is actually the major moment for Roll20 to make their play. They come back for defense, though, as they would like to get into a fight before Charism does get here with that palm.
Yeah, at this point we have at least Charism about to be back, but here comes now the Cocoon, the Palm. We have a lot of survivability. Metamorphosis is being used. Glorang in a bit of trouble, but gets out of there as Whoopi is once again attempting to connect with him.
The Haka goes back to the top lane to keep that leading experience here for Roll20, but again, Fnatic is winning the Immortal race. They start to move over and continue their poke as Schwimpy will work in some orbs and some missiles, but here comes Justing. I'm watching that Muradin.
Glorang once again on the move. Whoopi might
this.
have to use his ult here. Does not do that just yet as we have Quacknix moving in with Genji.
Glaurung's able to get out there, dive into his teammate. Quacknix moves in himself. Deflect will help out in the damage here. Wave of Force to make sure no one hits the drag. Wonderful Wave of Force.
Really well played here, and also Quacknix still safe at this moment. Wooby, on the other hand, he's rather low. You need to be careful with this. Glaurung still looking for the angle, but Roll20 is losing more and more hit points on their Immortal.
Constant tug of war between the two teams. Glaurung turns around, is on Wubby. Army of the Dead has been popped.
Going for the Army, Malfurion with a silence. They're trying to go for the kill, but Glaurung is low. Justin finds himself in a bit of trouble, but Quacknix on the other hand is also very low here as Karasim goes in for the heal. Muradin is the first to fall in the fight. Glaurung dashing out once again. Fnatic still alive, and Smexy didn't even use his palm yet.
The tug of war finally breaks Muradin falling, but he's only dead for 14 more seconds. Roll20 will take all resources available and come over and defend their Immortal. Glaurung on the left side will find Breeze, but with some mana left over, Breeze is able to burrow charge away.
Roll20 not letting up a bit. They know that this is rough. They are deciding to go up to the top to attack Fnatic's Immortal and reduce the shield amount. Fnatic has to react immediately, but they are all on the way back. They're all tapped, so all of a sudden they are losing a lot of HP on their own Immortal as they finally are about to finish the red one off to the bottom of the map.
All said and done, Fnatic will walk away with some shields on their Immortal.
But not too bad for Roll20, considering the situation they found themselves in. Of course, the objective still goes to Fnatic, which is a bit of a blow against them, but they still have only a very small shield to deal with. And in experience, they are also slightly ahead. This should change with Fnatic moving in up at the top, but this could have been way worse for Roll20 if Fnatic finished that Immortal off with nearly 100% shield.
Yeah, you mentioned not too bad, but I say amazing there. They're able to take a scenario where they were desperately behind the Immortal phase, and they found a small window and were able to burn it down to what it is now. This puts it at least in melee range with the fort, so they can actually have Illidan on to help burn it down overall. Dahaka's in the bottom pushing in, but Tacit using Dimensional Shift will be chased down here by Smexy and crew.
Malfurion with a silence. Cocoon, on the other hand, has also now been used as we have the lockdown against Muradin. Here comes the attempted kill, but Illidan moving away, still surviving, gets the shield from Tacita. Whoopi all of a sudden the target.
Glaurung's in low too. He's able to get out. Finally, his shield comes in. Muradin pops Avatar. They're going to continue fighting here, but the damage too much. Wimpy with some great missiles brings Justin low on health.
Whoopi just had no mana left. There was absolutely nothing that he could do but walk away. That would have been a potential kill as Roll20 moves in, but they have to deal with the Immortal 2. Now both of the teams on level 13 talents. And this is really a bit of a back and forth game in these fights. Glaurung is playing a fantastic Illidan right now, but they just don't find the kills they need when they need them.
Yeah, the both team is playing incredibly well right now. Look at it, 13 and a quarter. We are very tired at the moment. Fort low on the bottom right. Should get focused down here from Fnatic at some point, but still neck and neck between these two teams. It's too intense, it feels like, as there's not even a moment where anybody's falling victim. We've had, what, 2 kills this entire game?
Yeah, Illidan is just at this point also such a beast. He has the Thirsting Blade on level 7. He went for the Fighting Talent on 1 with a Battered Assault. And then on top of that, you have the shields from Tacita giving him even more self-sustain. If he is not locked down, if he isn't stunned, it's just nearly impossible to out-damage the amount of heal he gets from his auto attacks. And this is something that Roll20 is trying to exploit here.
Nimble defender here, going to keep him up and move him for the W. The Cocoon does connect underneath the fort here. Buds will start to retreat. We have the Dragon Blade on the back line, though. Silence goes off on the Genji. He has me focused down. Metamorphosis to escape. Can Glaurung live? Here comes Wubby.
Illidan nearly falling. Palm used and trigger. They're going in again. Glaurung is incredibly low, but he should be able to move out here. Fnatic, on the other hand, is once again being threatened here as Whoopi is losing hit points. Quacknix dashes out on his Genji. Glaurung is still, again, on full HP. It's insane. You can't kill this Illidan.
That is ridiculous. Surviving there with a sliver of health and his teammates back him up with a healing is able to treat. But the same thing for Quacknix. Quacknix was sitting in the middle of 3 members, and yet he's able to get away from the fight.
It's one of the big problems as Genji. If you go in deep against the Malfurion and he hits the Twilight Dream, you find yourself in trouble. There was a good reaction from Fnatic keeping him alive, but Roll20 is just saying, if you go out in our backline, we gotcha. Once again, Malfurion the target.
Ice Block is going to be used here, but Quacknix comes in instantly, going to take him out. Glaurung low at the same time. He's hoping to get away. He jumps on Swimpy, but he finally falls, and Fnatic has found the smallest window here to get engaged, and they're taking out 3 members.
Going for the triple here, taking Malfurion down first, and then the heal for Illidan just isn't there anymore. No cleanse for him. He is stunned and taken out, and on the way back, they can drop Muradin on top of it too. 15 versus 15 when we look at experience, mainly because of the Haka side soak throughout the entire game, but Fnatic is now threatening 100% shield immortal 14 minutes into the game.
Tahaka's here on the left side. He will see the opposing team, but there won't be room here for Roll20 to get back and help out the defense, especially with all members focusing it down. This will be a full health immortal available for Fnatic.
Rough situation for Roll20. They need to be very careful here. Fnatic has half a level less until they hit 16, and that is a massive, massive lead in talents. Moving through that bot lane, moving through the fort, should give them the talent advantage, and then they move in with 100% shield immortal and a talent advantage over Roll20.
Daga desperately going to work on getting 16 on the top left, but Glaurung already taking damage. He's going to Metamorphosis and charge on in, dive to one of his teammates, Justing will pop Avatar at the same time. Quacknix is on Malfurion, Twilight Dream pop, but Glaurung low and he pops.
Glaurung going down. They didn't sacrifice the fort. They are fighting for it, and this is a mistake. Muradin is now also dying. It's a double kill. Fnatic has the 16 anyways. They're going in deep, and this is all of a sudden getting from bad to worse as Roll20 is fighting for their life here.
They don't even have 16 yet. Breeze goes in, Tassadar falls, Bud's hoping to live, but Quacknix says no. 3 strikes in here. Dahaka will burrow, but he is not meant for this world as he continues to get focused down here. Li Ming, Quacknix, and of course Mexi deliver the final blow. All 5 down. Roll20's core is in trouble.
It's a wipe, and Fnatic looks to close the game. Europe taking it. The shots of Fnatic already popping off as they take the 2-0 victory against Roll20. The North American team with an attempted defense at the fort before 16 hits for Fnatic, but that opens up an opportunity for Fnatic to take them down one by one. An early metamorphosis on the side of Illidan, taking a lot of sustain away from him.
Fnatic continues to be undefeated this tournament, but Roll20, they hung in there until that late stage where officially someone fell down and it became 3 people picked up and they got into a fight and just did not work out for them, as you mentioned.
Roll20 was waiting for momentum. They were hoping to get some early kills and then drive the team fights, drive the momentum. The big problem facing an Illidan is that it's very difficult to get away from an Illidan.
Yeah.
The distance to safety on Battlefield of Eternity in particular is quite huge. So once that you start losing team members, it snowballs against you. And that one moment never happened for Roll20, which was their big problem. But the sustain on Illidan, again, I have to say, it was insane. The guy was at no hit points whatsoever, gets 3 auto attacks in, and all of a sudden he's at full health.
The strength of Tassadar and Malfurion just keep him alive as long as they could. That's going to be it for Roll20 versus Fnatic. Let's see what our panelists have to say about that game.
I'll have you know it's the Council of the Storm trick, but yeah, thank you anyway.
Conclave is so old school.
I don't know what he's on about.
Old news.
Oh, anyway, 2-0 for Fnatic, taking that victory there on Battlefield of Eternity. What do we make of it after... It was quite even for a long time, to be honest. Not really too many kills going either way, but eventually it kind of did fall down for Roll20.
It was. There's 2 members of Fnatic I really want to highlight there. One was Quacknix specifically, because every time Roll20 wanted to focus somebody in the backline, he would jump into the back and make life hell for the rest of the members. And you could hear it in the comms. It was like, no, you have to come back, you have to come back. And then Glau was caught in a cocoon up front. The other one was Wubby, and that was, man, he knew what he was going to get at 16. He knew he'd get the root for Remorseless Winter. He was already in position, so once he picked that, 3 seconds in, root goes down. It was awesome to see.
Very cool stuff. Jay, how you enjoyed that game?
It was wild because as much damage as probably went out, there were no kills. And it all comes down to eventually that one thing that you want to do well. If it cracks, it just shatters. And that was the moment. That was the thing that I was talking about, is that it can look good for once, twice, a couple times, and in this instance, a very long period of time. But there's always going to be something. And the minute it cracks, it looks like that. And
I have one question. Dreddy, are you ready?
I am.
Perfect. Replay time.
Let's get to it. First one is just honest. Honestly, I don't have much to say other than this is a beautiful fight. When nobody ends up dying, we see Glaurung completely caught up, ends up using the meta to be able to survive, pre-cleanse, the drag to try and get some form of like a counter kill. These guys, it just, nobody ends up dying, but everybody is just dishing out so much damage. It's so, I don't know. We never had a true team fight where somebody actually got wiped. It was either a pick or it was just through map manipulation that we ended up getting those kills. And so that was mainly what I had here, but I do have actually another replay
Absolutely. Give us your second.
And the second replay after this fight is just a huge wave of force that we end up seeing at the beginning part of the game. There was no kills really yet to be gained, and it all starts with the initiation that's going to happen. And the main thing I want to focus here in a couple of seconds is going to be Prismaticism. He, in fact, is the Dahaka player for Roll20. So it's going to start here. We see the Cocoon. Glorong ends up pulling back, and there goes Quacknix. So we're going to hit pause for a moment. All right, so now Quacknix is obviously, he's a little blue guy and a lot of red guys. That is typically not what you are going to want. So we're going to play this slowly forward and look at Prismat. He's got the Dahaka here. He wants to end up getting the tongue, and right as he's about to, pause. Did you see that wave of force? Go back a little bit more. The animation of the tongue is about to start, and immediately the wave of force ends up getting the split there by Schwimpy, ends up saving his ally to be able to keep him alive, and that was one of those one kills Caldor was talking about that could have gone over to Roll20 and really snowballed that game.
Yeah, it definitely could have. So thank you very much, Dread, as always here, as this fight does conclude. And hey, what do you know? Look who we found. Teleported in on his Li Ming. It is indeed Shrimpy. So firstly, congratulations for that victory.
Thank you, thank you.
And well played with that wave of force. Overall, going into the game against Roll20 esports, it's North America going up against Europe. What did you expect going up against Roll20 esports? What did you expect from them?
Well, sometimes in life you lose, and sometimes you face an A. So I expected a pretty easy win.
Okay. You guys have questions?
A little thrown off right now. Did you expect...
Okay, no, we're good.
You've broken Dread. J-How, go, quick.
Did you expect that type of toughness out of that secondary comp that you saw there? Like, were you expecting easy games? What were your thoughts coming into the series?
Honestly, we were a bit scared, because obviously Glorong has some heroes he's really good at, so we have to respect his Medivh, and therefore we ban it out. And you know, we know their key picks, like the Haka Liming and stuff like that. So if we take them away, we were expecting a pretty easy series, but we still respect them as a team.
Dread?
I mean, all I have to ask is just mainly in the drafting sense, it does, at least for me, it feels like you guys are maybe a degree downward. Do you guys feel like you guys are letting out all the cards, or just keeping on the down low?
I think we're trying to go through the group stage without showing anything really. We have more to come. Okay. We just play our play style and play standard right now. And yeah, we try to abuse their small hero pools.
So this is the first time we get to talk to a Fnatic member on here since we've seen this yesterday's evolution of what happened in the games. A lot of people are looking at Fnatic as one of the big favorites to take this whole tournament. It's happened before. This time, Korea doesn't look like it's in the greatest shape at all. What are your expectations and how you look at that scenario?
I think for sure we're a big favorite here. I think we play really good at the moment, and you know, we have the feeling that a lot of teams want to scrim us because of that reason.
Right.
Korea's still strong. They have really good mechanics. I think if we go further into the tournament, they will have a lot more to say about it. So maybe when we come to Jönköping DreamHack, they will be stronger than they are now.
All right, well, thank you very much, Shrimpy, and congratulations once again. Bagging yourself another 3 points. Let's check in with the groups to see what's happened so far here today, as well as the last 2 days. As you can see, Fnatic taking